Thank you so much for being here today. I feel so honored to share with you what I do and what I love to do. So you give me the opportunity to be in my best expression of myself. The sound expands a lot. So as you notice, as somebody moves, it becomes a big sound. So this is a good thing for us because I tried the singing bowls earlier today and the expansion is very beautiful. So my name is Donatella Moltisanti. My background is of an opera singer. I started to play violin as a young child, and then, I was studying all the minor things you have to study to pass the exam. And when I had to do the singing part, I opened my mouth and they were like, "Oh my gosh, what are you doing?" And the voice was so big I didn't know what to do with it. It was like, I envied people that had small voices because they could manage the voice. I would open my voice and would like, "Wah!" And I couldn't sing pop songs. And so, of course, my family directed me to do opera, and by chance, I discovered that doing the breathing exercises are very important for the body to become a resonance. I healed effortlessly from chronic pain I had since I was 13. So I became very curious and I started to really study and connect. And I realized there was nothing written about this method because it's a oral tradition of ancient technique in Italy. And it's something that nobody really never wrote because it's kind of a elite secret that passes on to the best of the best of the best. So I am a researcher in my nature. I am stubborn in my nature. So I started to travel. I went to Rome. First I moved to Palermo. I wasn't satisfied. I went to Rome. I went to Florence. I just started to travel to find the best of the best that would give me the secret of this technique. My father was the seed of this. When I was young, he has a beautiful voice. I said, "Daddy, you have such a beautiful voice." I was like, "This is nothing." There was a guy when growing up that when he would open his mouth, the entire valley would fill up. Imagine if you have the technique, it becomes 100 times bigger. So in Italy, you have to understand that anybody can sing opera. At least, half a century ago, they were like anybody would clean and sing opera, would in the market and sing opera. So this is something that was, for my father, was something that was very heavy knowledge. So it just instilled me this idea of this secret voice, this big voice I didn't know what to do with. So I really started to understand that this technique is so healing for the body because liberates so much, opens, expands. What do? We are in our mind, we contract, we are afraid, we don't breathe. People don't breathe. So I started to teach breathing, I started to expand this thing, I started to write it for everyday people because we have the right to breathe. And when we breathe, everything, as we expand our perception of ourselves, we expand our perception of our possibilities. Then I started to see that the sound will take the vibration and take it to very different dimensions. And the dimensions is very personal. Nobody has to tell you what is your dimension. But it's so magical because it's something inside of us that knows what to do with it. It is a body's intelligence and it's a sound intelligence that comes with it. So I'm going to try to be very concise today because my events are always 2 hours, but they give me 1 hour here. So you have no idea how much I'm trying to put in this hour. But what I want to prepare you is to allow your body to feel the expansiveness. The sound, I use a very specific technique in the sound that I choose to use for my events. For example, this singing bowl, it's very powerful. This will bring back the vibration of Mother Earth. When I was testing this singing bowl, I felt that the crust of the earth shaking. I was like, oh my gosh. And I had to really be nice to her, otherwise she would not sing. This is something very important. Sometimes I do one-on-one sessions, and the singing bowl refused to sing. I was like, okay, so there is something that is so stuck inside, in that specific chakra, that the singing bowl is too delicate. It's not, unless the client opens up, the singing bowl will not speak. So this is something so beautiful, how sound has its own intelligence. So what I invite you to do today is to absorb as much as you can. What you will find is that your inner child will start to play, or cry. It depends, because if your inner child was part of it abandoned or felt abandoned in spite of all the love, or your young self feels abandoned, or part of your creativity is shut down, that's the where the sound will go. So you need to be very curious and just allow any kind of insight. People have said to me that the sound goes in the part of the body, the mind, or the shoulders, does a little and then leaves. And so if you have an obsessive thinking, for example, this will heal that part of you that it's anxious and thinks the same thing again and again and again. A little tip, when I learned that obsessive thinking brings a lot of wrinkles, I stopped. I was like, okay, let's think once. That's enough. So what I ask you not to think, I'm going to take you to your daily with the breath, and you have to understand that breathing this way will activate the biggest nerve that passes in the back of your neck, and just it's like a river of connection, electrical connection would touch the diaphragm without you doing anything, and then that's where the sound is start to use your electrical body and renovate it and rejuvenate it. And just you can choose something. I ask you to choose something today, and you will receive it. You can choose to release a pain. You can choose to release a memory that's painful. You can choose to release something that you are fear for the future, something specific, something vague, something that you wear like a coat. If you are ready to release, ask for this experience to release that. Also, you can choose to release something for the land. Like if your community has a problem. As a community, if you choose to release this problem in the community, it will be released. So it's just trust your own power of self-healing, of healing around you. And if you get emotional, allow the emotion to go. I have people have been sobbing throughout my really sobbing. It was so beautiful because it was an ancient cry that helped everybody to release, even if they didn't cry. So I ask you to be very spontaneous, as I am, and very genuine as much as you can. You don't have to speak up, you don't have to share. It's your relationship with the sound in your body, so you can be as genuine as possible. Okay, so I ask you to breathe now in the way that you know to breathe. Relax. If you can uncross your feet and your hands, it will be good, so that you have a sense of the flow. Imagine it, your breath is a river. So I always ask people, do not count with breath. Please do not count with breath. We are so automized in the brain. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and it's really nothing. Does nothing, because the intention that we put with the brain, with the breath, it's what we get. So if you have an intention of self-love, an intention of passion, compassion, I want you to think something that a vibration you like, right? So maybe it's the sun vibration, maybe you like the summer, maybe you like the snow. So I associated that.
It's not that.
And it's also beautiful to exist without the frequency of the cell phones around. So if it's shut down and not just muted, it's the best. So I'm going to ask you to imagine that you have your mouth between your eyebrows. So this is very important, because when we breathe from the nose using the nostrils, this is a very specific, basic information that you will never forget. So I want to give to you as a gift because it will change your life because you change your breathing. When you change your breathing pattern, you change a lot of patterns. So this is a very preciousness that you want to remember, and you will remember because it feels so good. So what happens is when we breathe from the nostrils, we get very tense. And so the breath, you said breathe deeply. Everybody goes up. I would say breathe deeply is down. Why everybody goes up? Because we use the nostrils, and the nostrils immediately take us to contraction. I want you to breathe with the nostrils in this way, like you do normally. Okay, just breathe. Okay, can you see the contraction in the chest? Okay, so now what happens is the nostrils are two different separate tubes that connect to two separate holes in the skull. And I have a skull here to show it. So there are separate holes in the skull, and these holes go around the skull. So by the time we breathe the nose and we go up here, we are contracted. The scalp does this. So when you think that you go straight in these holes, you immediately go around. So imagine you have your mouth here, close your mouth, and breathe from here. And imagine your sound to go up. Very good. That's beautiful. Can you feel the room change? You can sit here. Keep doing without thinking, without counting. Just allow the air to touch your brain and to come out, to touch your brain. So imagine the ocean and the waves. And then come in. There's not a stop, but there is a rhythm. This is the rhythm of our body. We are so connected to nature through breath. So you breathe in. I want you almost to fill up your throat, that's all. And just, whatever air comes out is what the body doesn't need right now. So come in, imagine very curvy. Curvier is your breath coming in, bigger it is, more soft it is, more fulfilling it is. So imagine doing this around your head. Okay, do you feel that it's opening your heart, warming you up? It's filling you, and also it's feeding you. Can you feel that? So now relax, release everything. For 1 second, I want you to breathe again from the nostrils and feel the difference. Okay. Very good. Do you feel the difference? Now, if I want to ask you to tune into the room. So when you go home, or as a child, you went home and your parents were lovey-dovey and you felt that beautiful energy in the house. And sometimes you came home and they were fighting or just stopped fighting because you were there, but later you can cut it, right? I want you to tune into the room with that knowledge and see how is the energy now. That's like, and before it was rounded and soft. So let's breathe again here and see from your third eye, from your brows. Go around and touch the back of your neck. Allow the hair to go there like there's a little socket that you're feeling. That's the vagus nerve. When you touch that vagus nerve, your parasympathetic comes in, and right now you can't remember what you were doing before or what you're going to do after. You just are present and relaxed. That's how the body works. So again, very good. I know that you're doing it because the softness of the room. Can you feel that? Very good. So now all I ask you to do is to breathe and allow the sound to do the rest. At one point, I will go around to, if I'm called in to go around with the singing bowls, I'm going to do that so you will feel even more accurate relationship with the sound. The first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to clear the energy. You have to understand that the sound works around you and you will never absorb anybody else's energy. It's something like a little capsule in your cocoon. So the first thing I do is to cleanse everything, to have like imagine a river underneath our feet that is taking everything, wash it away, everything that we release. So you can release anything. Slowly bring yourself back into the room. Just move your fingers, your toes inside your shoes, your shoulders, and look around and find something red to look at. I like some red. So the color red will take you in to ground you in the present. So even though you've been in an expanded mode, when you come back and you look at red, it grounds you in the first chakra, so you're present as much as possible. So this is now, I want to dedicate some time to question and answers and to share, what was your experience, anything about everything I did, and I'm here for you, so.
Yes. When you say to breathe through your third eye area and visualize a mouth, you're visualizing a mouth, but you're breathing through your nose, correct?
So basically what happens is, when we think we're breathing from the nose or the mouth, it's too low. It's too low. The air inside acts at the opposite of acts outside. The air outside tends to go up. Inside the body it tends to go down. So when we are already down, we'll go up. It's just it's not natural. So if you go up, if you breathe as high as possible, more connected to the system, which is this coane. It's C-O-A-N-E in Latin. These little holes. More closer you are there, so you don't create any tension. You go high. So there's no way to go high. It will go down. That activates the memory, ancient memory, memory in the body. The body knows how to breathe. The body, the breathing system, it's alpha automatic. So, we don't die when we sleep. But the other alpha automatic, we have lost the knowledge. So we mess it up. And then we mess up the instinct of the breath. This will take you back to the instinct of the breath. One thing is, I see all these methods to make people over-dramatic when they're breathing, when they're sleeping, or apnea, they tight the mouth. It's because we lost this curve. If you do this exercise just before going to bed, the body will remember, and we sleep in this way all night. What happens is when you go up, the chin rests. So when this falls, you don't have any tension, and the breath keeps going. The last news that's out there is to tight chins people when they sleep. Like this is like the most sympathetic system response. Somebody tells you here, you go completely tense. The parasympathetic system releases this. So you touch the parasympathetic system when you touch this spot and you touch your skull, because you breathe in your brain, and immediately the brain can't think. That's why we don't breathe, because the brain wants always to think. But when you touch the brain and you bathe it in the breath and in the sound, then all of a sudden it's an amazing shortcut. Instead of meditating for 30 years to get to that level, you use tools that we have in nature, which is our nature, the breath, and nature sound, which is pure sound. Yes?
I've always liked these singing bowls. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly.
Yes.
My yoga teacher in New Jersey used to have them, and for some reason they always make me feel relaxed. Can you explain how that happens?
So, first of all, our spine has a sound. I don't know if I'm familiar with chakras. Every chakra has sounds. If you do yoga, you're familiar with that. So there is an inner sound in our body. Our brain is wired for music, for sound. Music has always known that. Musicians have always known that. When I was in my early 20s, I specialized in the lamentos, which are 200 kind of music, and was all this literature and music were matching at that time. So there was a lot of poetry, a lot of music to sing the poetries of women that were received to negotiate for kingdoms. So the princess will come, they will marry to have the kingdom, and then the guy will take the princess and live in a highland, with abandoned in a highland. And the lamentos were associated to this story that happened in 200. Every single piece of the literature around at that time, it's in a third minor, which instills grief and pain. Then, if we look into the history of people in ancient times, they will hire women to weep at the funerals, because the lamento was based, or the women weeping was in a third minor. So I used a lot of third minor's music to allow people to release the pain, so that they can feel free to have joy instead of identifying with the pain. Because pain, it's like a sticker. If you don't process, it stays there and doesn't leave you. So you can't feed it too much, otherwise it becomes glue, but you need to shake it up a little bit to let it go. So it's a little delicate territory. But with this kind of music, you just shake it out and then leaves by itself, you process it. 5 years ago, science did a study and went to an hospital with newborn children, babies, and start to record all the crying. And across the board it came out, every single newborn baby cries in a third minor. So now the science is finally backing where music and religion and matters always knew instinctively. But what is beautiful is I believe that science will save the planet, because no politician will not do it, our ignorance will not do it, but science will do it. So I'm really happy that they're empowering our voice, because we're in a society where if we say something that comes from our intuition, from our knowledge, from our feminine side, it's not scientific. So it's like, okay, let's use science to empower our voices and to be together. I am always in getting things together. So this is why it's inevitable. Even when it's bothersome, it's very beautiful. When the sound, if the sound bothers you, because especially at the beginning I created a kind of clashing sound, we need that because it goes where it needs to go to shake up where we stuck. And so if the sound, it's a calling for that, it's good, because we need that. And then we go in a space where there's more harmony, because now it's building it. So first shakes it, purifies it, and then builds into it. Yes.
While I was listening, I experienced some muscle spasms.
Yes.
Same kind of thing when I'm in bed at night, just before I fall asleep. So listening to you was sort of, had the same experience, like in bed at night just before I fall asleep, sort of letting go happens.
Yeah. That's beautiful. So imagine it takes a state of mind, takes a mattress, takes some time, right, to do that.
Yeah.
And so what happens is the willingness, the ability to let it go and to trust. So that we only allowed if we are in our bed, we are under covers. So the body experiences this now in a setting that it's open to other people. So this is life, basically. It's being open to life. Also, there's that part of you, physical self and the divine self, emotional self, everything. That shake, it's the union of that. You're allowing that different parts of yourself to sync, because you're opening up, not only letting go, but opening up. So if you, the sound does this beautifully. You have, always people say, I had spasms in my muscles, because the part of your contraction, basically anything that we experience that it's not pleasant, even if it's pleasant sometimes, so we contract and we trap it into it. That part that is contracted will not receive energy. So you are loved, but that part wants to be loved. But if you are, in a bad situation, that part will be charged and charged even more. So what we have to do with this spasm is, because that, if you have a contraction, will open up. When open up, then the different parts of yourself integrate. So the shaking is ultimately an integration. How do you feel now?
I feel very relaxed. I feel good. You know, and it's I'm strange because all strange people here.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. No.
You're all straight.
Now, isn't this the ideal way of being inside your body?
Yeah. I mean,
So we,
yes.
go ahead.
I just have a feeling of being very relaxed.
Yeah,
My shoulders are dropping.
yeah,
You know, my hands feel loose.
yeah,
Yeah, it's very good.
yeah. So this is the vibration of life. This is when you spend a day in the mountains, you know. So it's an amazing shortcut to get that sense of wow, you know, everything is here, everything is inside. Yes.
Maraka, is that a
Yes.
clearing?
Yes.
Okay.
So what happened is I travel all over the world to do this work, and then when my last day I go around and look for instruments of the land. So I was a few weeks ago in San Juan in Puerto Rico, and I found this and other two instruments, and I felt that the purity and the fineness of the sound was what I needed. And also because I bring with me pieces of the land. Yeah. Yes.
I was just amazed at the simplicity
The simplicity.
of breathing here. I have chronically jaw tight, chronic, and it just was like I could feel everything just sort of releasing and like the roots.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, thank you so much.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, thank you.
Okay, so I don't know if you heard her. She had a love affair with her vagus nerve. It was a love at first sight, or first breath. So basically, she had been suffering of tightness, like really tightness in her jaw, and that happens because we want to do well in life. We want to we really push into life. You know, and that's what we do with breathing. What we do with breathing, we do with life, by the way. So if we allow this to happen, when you activate this receives. We are supposed to receive. We are supposed to receive. There's our human side, our action side that gives, and our part that is our divine side, our feminine side has to receive. We receive from life. So if we give and receive, we are collaborating with life, life collaborates with us. When we push, we are not collaborating. Hello? With no collaboration, you don't go that far. You just... So when you adjust your breathing, you adjust your relationship with life. Breathing in is receiving, and it takes humbleness, takes so much to receive. It's easier to give. It's easier to give. That's why people always force the breath out. No, don't worry. The body will take everything it needs and release what doesn't need. Don't pay attention. If you participate to my online courses of breathing, then we get also to how to be more active oriented through these principles, which is effortless. But just do not think about that. The most important thing we lack as a humanity is the ability to receive. That's why we don't breathe. I had somebody here, and then it's you.
I was wondering if this beautiful work that you do could be used to help women who are laboring to have a baby.
Oh yeah.
So how would you use sound
Yeah.
to help them? Or how could they use it?
So the basic is the breath, because what do we do? And something that it's not working when you know to give a birth is that we contract. So if you breathe and you contract, so you can't. You know, when they say push, you push, and you push more, contracting. So when you really trust and release, and the sound, it's kind of a catatonic. It's like, I have a CD that a lot of people use, and a lot of mothers use to put their children to sleep. A lot of husbands steal it from their wives to. Finally, my husband is relaxing with music. right now with listening to So, yes, definitely. I've been using this with many, I do a course for spiritual parenting, and so to teach mothers and fathers to lullaby their children to keep their being intact, not to pull them and to impose and not understanding, not seeing them. So this is a thing that you can really put balance in yourself and your family, really important. I also have to say I volunteered at one point to a domestic violence center, and you see the women were so disabilitated, so disempowered, which is the life of the solar plexus, and unable to move out, it's that playing dead rescue thing that we get in the brain. With one breathing session, boom, they will leave everything. They were like, boom, the fire was on. And they immediately knew what the body was doing. Because they were thinking, I need to go, but there was too much water. It was like, I better play dead, otherwise I die. So there was this disconnect. As soon as I connect them to the breath, they knew exactly what to do. So I really believe that this can be applied to so much, to so many, for so many purposes. Yes?
I was just wondering how we can contact you.
Oh yes, I think we have we have information with my website, Facebook. Maybe Moltisanti.com is my website.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
you're welcome.
Do
Yes.
you work with, is this course is effective with people in the process of transition, hospice,
Yeah.
the singing bowls and
Yeah.
routine?
Oh yeah. Big time. Big time. Yeah. Because this is something that I work in my system, because there are 3 singing bowls that are related to the heart. So in the transition, the heart is the most important thing. It has to be light, because the soul feels heavy because they didn't accomplish what we wanted to accomplish. If you feel unfinished business, anything that's heavy will keep the energy stuck in this dimension. So it's something we have to do actually every day, to know what it is having a heart that is light like a feather. So with this one, it's a singing bowl that is 150 years old. It's Japanese, has 12 layers, which touches 12 chakras, and it's of the heart chakra. So the heart chakra has 13 chambers, and this energy really touches 12 of them. So there's a lot of the heart that releases and lets go. Then,
Can you try? Can you try?
yes. As you can feel, there are many layers of vibrations. So,
What key is that?
I think it's a B flat. And then the other one that I was called to go around, that one is 200 years old. It's Japanese. It's only 7 layers, but it's a singing bowl that takes to the past, to the back chakra of the heart, like to very old experiences, sometimes even past lives experiences. And so that was very excavating. And this one goes to the higher heart. And there was so much coming in, like connection to your divine heart, to the collaboration with life. So at the end, you have a lot touched and synchronized without even knowing. So this really helps in that kind of what you're saying. the CD has a beautiful healing energy field that brings in so much energy and healing energy. As a song it is for grief, a song it is for the heart that, you know, sometimes you divorce or you lose the love of your life. And so every song has a specific field that we as humans live on. Am I going over time? No, okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.